Hello everybody, I'm sorry this video is a little later than I originally intended, but I had a week last week, like you wouldn't believe. It was not good, not good. Work sucks. That's basically all I'm going to say about the matter, but happy Labor Day everybody. I'm doing this on my day off, and I assume most of you probably have days off as well. Hope you're enjoying that. But yeah, last week was a bit of a crazy week for wrestling, between the Jimmy Snuka story, Seth Rollins' girlfriend getting fired for stuff. That we'll just leave it at that stuff. Bram getting charged and arrested and suspended from TNA for his actions. A shooting right outside the WWE Performance Center. And by shooting, I mean the cops retaliating or responding to potentially dangerous individuals. So, it was a bunch of crazy stories last week, and it's kind of funny that the least shocking one was the one that involved swastikas. It was pretty nuts, but that's just I'm not going to elaborate on that too much beyond just it's fucking crazy. I mean, all of it, it's just nuts. But we also had a terrible episode of Raw last week. I mean, shockingly bad. Hopefully the next episode of Raw happening tonight won't be as bad, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Apparently, Seth Rollins is not as good as Triple H is now, the semi-retired authority figure. Okay, I mean, that's like an NFL player, being told, that's like a current NFL player who's a starter and has really good stats and everything, being told, hey, you know that guy that's a commentator now, like Troy Aikman or Dan Marino? You're not as good as they are now. And then they wonder why they have trouble building new stars. It's just, and then Sting comes out and fucking sucks Triple H's dick, and it's like, what, the guy that cheated to beat you at WrestleMania, he's a more honorable man than Seth Rollins? I'm like, fucking bullshit. It's just horrible. The whole main story of the episode was just fucking terrible, and just made the show a chore to watch. But anyway, I do have to get this out of the way. The top 10 matches for the month of August 2015 and my favorite wrestling brand for the month of 2015. So let's get started with that because that's going to be the main portion of the video. Number 10, I have Seth Rollins defending the WWE Championship in an open challenge against Neville from the August 3rd episode of Raw. This match made the list solely for the finish. The match itself was really good. It was very exciting. It made Neville look great, and Neville and Rollins are two guys that can get it done, so you put them in a good situation and it'll work out just fine. But what I loved about the finish was that it wasn't a standard finisher kick out where Rollins just kicked out of the red arrow. They thought outside the box a little bit and tried to play with the psychology of the rules of wrestling, where Neville hit the red arrow, hooked the leg, and without even really thinking about it, he hooked Rollins' leg so hard that Rollins' leg touched the rope, and that caused the rope break. And it was one of those, like, to me, that was more memorable and more exciting than a standard kick out. To me, because it points out like a little dent in the armor of the red arrow. It's like, oh, maybe his opponents are too close to the ropes when he hits it. And that's something he'll have to worry about in the future. But yeah, it played with the rules of professional wrestling and played with, how fans understand the rules of professional wrestling. It just takes those little things, those little details, and made it work to tell their story. And I like that a lot more than just a standard, finisher kick out. So for the creativity involved in that particular moment in the match, I really liked it, and I thought that was a really good way to, keep the red arrow strong, but also, again, think outside the box a little bit and play with the rules a little bit. And for a second, it looked like Neville was going to win the title, which is also really exciting as well. And for on a match that on its face you're expecting, no, he's not going to win. And for a second, it looked like Neville might win. So. That was all really good, and I really liked the match for that. But moving right along, we've got number 9, John Cena versus Seth Rollins in a title-for-title match at SummerSlam. I kept this match at number 9 because it does have a lot of the things that really annoy me about a lot of matches today, particularly John Cena matches, where, Rollins will do all these really cool moves, but Cena's going to kick out of them. and see a lot of Cena's moves that he does every single match just result in a kick out, like his flying leg drop and the first AA and all that other stuff. So all that stuff is rendered meaningless. The bit with Jon Stewart at the end was not well executed, I didn't think. It was obvious as sin that he was going to hit John Cena, that is, not himself. Yeah, that wasn't very well done, but looking past all of that, I did think it was a very exciting match. I thought Rollins looked like a superstar here, and he looked outstanding. He was flying all over the place and doing everything in his power to make that match as exciting as possible, and really showed what he could do as a talent. And overall, I just thought it was a very exciting match. I should also note that Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar from that same show would probably be on this list as well had it not been for the finish. I thought that match was exciting, had a big match atmosphere, had some memorable moments, and then they did that stupid finish that doesn't make any sense. So I was like, well, that just ruined the whole thing. But yeah, it had some problems. Cena Rollins wasn't perfect, but overall, I thought it was a very exciting match and worthy of being the number 9 spot on the list. And number 8, I have Bayley versus Charlotte from the August 6th episode. What is that? August 6th episode of NXT. Really great match. They were putting Bayley on the path to ultimately win the championship, and to do that, they would have to have her beat a lot of the girls that she had never beaten before, like Charlotte, like Becky Lynch, and she'd beaten Becky Lynch before, but they had to have her go through the top contenders. And this was her first really big match before setting her up for Sasha Banks at the Takeover special. And I thought they had a great match. I just thought it was just a well-wrestled, very exciting match with the satisfying conclusion of Bayley getting her big win. And it was a great establishing win for her to ultimately set up the title match down the road. And Charlotte and Bayley, I thought they went out there and just really tore it down. And it's nice to see Bayley getting some recognition because I always felt like she was kind of overlooked. And I'll elaborate on that more when I continue on with this list. But it's nice to see Bayley getting some recognition, and her matches have been very, very good lately for obvious reasons. And this one was, I thought that Bayley and Charlotte had a great match. I liked the match they had last year at Fatal 4-Way, and I thought this one was if not as good, it was in the same class at least. It was very, very good and very exciting. Number 7, Kushida versus Ricochet for the IWGP Junior Championship from the G1 Climax Finals event. Ricochet, who's, for those of you who don't know, and for you Lucha Underground fans who probably already know, Ricochet is Prince Puma, or Prince Puma is Ricochet, whichever way you want to look at it. So it was cool to get to see him again so soon after the Lucha Underground finale. I really like that. And I just thought they went out there and had a great match. I think the IWGP Junior Championship matches and all the junior heavyweight matches that have been happening lately, ever since Kushida won the belt, have been great. Kushida is outstanding, and he seems to have great matches with everybody. And Ricochet has proven that he's very good, and he knows what he's doing in there. So I just thought it was just a very good athletic match between two guys that can get it done, and I really enjoyed watching it. So there's your number 7 pick. Number 6, we're going to go into Ultima Lucha, the opening match from Part 2. Alberto El Patron versus Johnny Mundo. These are two guys that were in the WWE with, they hit some roadblocks, some of it their fault, some of it, or most of it, creative's fault. But here you go. You have these two guys. If you present them in a way that hides their weaknesses and showcases their strengths, it's going to yield really good results. And I thought Patron and Mundo went out there and just tore it the fuck down. It was a great athletic match. Great match to kick off the show with. And you even got the surprise at the end with Melina coming down and helping Mundo win. And then after that, Alberto got his revenge and threw Johnny Mundo through the window. So you got closure to the story while also leaving the door open for more stuff for both characters, especially Mundo going forward. Now that he's got this big win over Alberto, you got to wonder if he's going to be a top contender for the title, if there is a Lucha Underground Season 2. You got to wonder what Melina's role is going to be in all of this when with their partnership going forward and everything. So, yeah, there's definitely stuff to play with in the future. And this match concluded a lot of great things, set up some great things, and was just an extremely entertaining match from start to finish. I loved it. Number 5, Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens for the NXT Championship in a ladder match from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. This was the main event of the show. They had a great match at Beast in the East, the big Tokyo special that WWE did. They also had a great match the week of WrestleMania on the NXT episode right before WrestleMania. They had a great match as well. So they have a nice little trilogy here. And again, this was just an awesome match where they went out there and totally just fucking destroyed each other. I mean, they did things in this match that I've never seen before in a ladder match. And with all it had that crazy car wreck spot festy aspect to it, but they did some new things I'd never seen before. And Kevin Owens' character is just so great, where he's just such an asshole and such a dick that it creates a lot of little nuances in his matches. Like just him like sitting in the corner with a scowl on his face while Finn Balor makes his entrance, and just the way he bullies Michael Cole if you watch Raw, and all sorts of things like that. I mean, Kevin Owens is just so great at doing what he does that it's easy to get sucked into his matches, and this match was easy to get sucked into. It was a very good match. Satisfying conclusion to the feud. I didn't expect Finn Balor to retain. I thought they were going to go with Owens. So now you have to wonder what the future holds for Finn Balor as champion, and whether or not Kevin Owens is going to play much of a role in NXT going forward, or is he just going to be a main roster mainstay. We shall see, but for right now, I thought the ladder match was very, very good. I really enjoyed it, and it was great. Loved it. In most other months, it would probably be much higher on the list than number 5, but this was a tough list to put together, I have to say. There was a lot of great stuff this month. So, moving forward from there, we're going back to Ultima Lucha. Number 4, Pentagon Jr. versus Vampiro in the Ciero Meido match. Which is zero fear, no rules, no holds barred, no countouts, no disqualifications, anything goes. This match they had far surpassed any expectations I had of it. I mean, you look at a match with a near 50-year-old Vampiro, you don't really expect much out of it, but man, they went out there and just tore it down. And the match has elements to it that I normally don't like that much, like fluorescent light bulbs and thumbtacks and all that other stuff, but they really made it work. And again, it comes down to like character and story. The story they told was great. The character of Pentagon Jr. was fantastic, and having Vampiro play the grizzled veteran that was having to overcome his own shortcomings like age and all those other things, to put up a fight against this guy was also very good. And Pentagon is really one of the best characters to really be showcased in Lucha Underground. He's just so nasty and violent and evil and all this other stuff that it really made for a great, violent bloodbath of a match. And one that I could understand if people didn't care for it too much, but me personally, I just got sucked into the story so much that I just loved every second of it. I thought it was very, very well done. And then you get the added twist at the end where it turns out all along that Vampiro was Pentagon's master, and he was getting him to, break all those arms and do all those horrible things because he was trying to bring out as much violence and darkness out of Pentagon as humanly possible. And so you got that nice little twist put on it at the end, and creates stuff going forward for Season 2. Please, dear God, let there be a Season 2. But yeah, I thought that this match was also very good. And this is another match. On any other month, it would probably be close to like 1 or 2, but there are a lot of options to work with this month. So we're moving on to number 3, another match from Ultima Lucha. That show's main event, actually. Prince Puma defending the Lucha Underground Championship against Mil Muertes, the man of 1,000 deaths, with the evil Katrina in his corner. It's just an outstanding main event. I mean, they did such a great job of making Puma this likable babyface and this determined, strong hero babyface champion. They did an even better job of making Mil Muertes look like an unstoppable undead monster that it feels like this main event was what Lucha Underground was building to all along. This was like the end game from day one to ultimately build to Prince Puma versus Mil Muertes. And it was just a great, outstanding main event where and this is also another great example of when you protect moves and finishers when they kick out of them, it means a lot more. Because when Muertes hits the flatliner, you expect it to be over, but Puma kicked out, so it actually felt like a big deal because no one had ever kicked out of it before. Muertes kicked out of the 630 splash. No one had ever done that before. So a lot of those big kickouts actually mattered because they saved it for the right time. And they did all sorts of crazy stuff to each other. Even like Prince Puma using Katrina as a weapon to smack Muertes around a little bit, and the spear through the table, and all this other crazy stuff that they did. It was just an exciting, crazy main event between two well-built characters. And you also got the downer, the Empire Strikes Back ending of Mil Muertes winning the championship, and now we head into season 2 with Katrina holding all the titles and everything that, going forward from there with, Phoenix has the Gift of the Gods championship, so he might challenge Mil Muertes, but he's got to deal with King Cuerno and what's Puma going to do and what's Mundo going to do and all this other fucking great stuff that they've set up for season 2. Please let there be a season 2, for the love of God. But moving right along from there, we have another bit of me cheating. Sorry, I'm pulling up my list here. New Japan's G1 Climax tournament had a great set of matches to it. This is the first year I've ever followed the G1 Climax tournament. And there were a lot of great matches throughout the tournament. It was a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoyed it. It was fun, exciting, and everything else in between. And there were so many matches that I liked from it that instead of giving them all their own spots, I decided to just put all the G1 Climax tournament matches in one solid spot right there. Again, that's cheating, but there were just so many really good matches that I liked. I decided to highlight all of the ones I really liked, just like I did last month. We had Hanma versus Elgin from night 8. We had Ishii versus Nakamura from night 8 as well. We had Okada versus Goto, the IWGP World Champion versus the IWGP IC Champion. That was from... night 8. Yeah, night 8 might have been my favorite show from all of the tournament showcases that they did. You had AJ versus Makabe from night 11, which was fun. Naito versus Ibushi from night 11. Okada versus Ishii from night 12. AJ versus Tenzan from night 13. Tanahashi versus Shibata from night 13. Shibata had a great showing in this tournament. So did Tanahashi. Elgin really did well here too. He's definitely got a... I'd be more than happy to have him back in New Japan and doing stuff with them because he did great in this tournament. Hanma versus Nakamura from night 14. That was great. Ishii versus Goto from night 14. That was a hard-hitting stiff fest. Makabe versus Tanahashi from night 15. That match was great. Elgin versus Goto from night 16. Okada versus Nagata from night 16. That was also very good. Old man Nagata still getting it done. Hanma versus Ishii from night 16. Hanma actually got his win. It was he'd lost all of his tournament matches up to that point, but he finally got a win here, and that was great to see. Makabe versus Ibushi from night 17 was very good. Styles versus Tanahashi from night 17, which decided Block A, won by Tanahashi. You had Elgin versus Ishii from night 18, which was also great. You had Okada versus Nakamura from night 18, which determined Block B, and was an awesome match. This might have been my favorite match of the whole tournament. I thought it was great. There was this one point where Nakamura countered the Rainmaker into his armbreaker submission. It looked amazing. It was just great. And I thought they went out there and had a killer match. And then you had Tanahashi versus Nakamura in the finals, which was won by Tanahashi. So he's the G1 Climax winner. And I have to say, New Japan, the main events they have are really unparalleled in wrestling. I mean, when you look at the work that Styles and Okada and Tanahashi and Nakamura do with each other, it's really amazing. And every now and then they'll work in somebody like Ibushi or Goto, some of his matches with Nakamura, and they'll work other guys in there. But those core four, Styles, Okada, Tanahashi, and Nakamura, they do some amazing stuff together. It's really amazing. And just when you think like they can't possibly come up with anything new, they find a way to do it. And I think the only pairing I haven't seen is AJ versus Nakamura, which, okay, bring that on. I'd love to see that. That would be great to see. But yeah, the G1 Climax was just I had a lot of fun with it. We'll say that. It was a great experience. It was my first first time really following the G1 Climax. Instead of just watching a match here or there, I decided to watch as much of it as I could. I didn't watch the whole tournament, obviously, but it was just an outstanding showcase of talents and matches and all sorts of other things. So yeah, the G1 Climax, really liked it. But my number one match for the month of August goes to the match that almost made me cry, Bayley versus Sasha Banks for the NXT Women's Championship at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, which was, might be my match of the year. I'm not even kidding. I was like, that might have been my favorite match of the year because everything was just built up so perfectly. With the characters were really well established. There was context there. There was drive and determination from both characters. Sasha was firmly established as the best girl in the division. Bayley was the scrappy little underdog that was trying to finally get that big win. They built her up very well with wins over Charlotte and Becky Lynch along the way. So everything came to a head here at the show, and I thought they went out there and had a beautiful match. Just an absolutely wonderful match. And again, it's a lot of the little things they did, like locking in the bank statement and Sasha Banks stomping on Bayley's hand as she tried to reach for the rope. Her injured hand, by the way. It was like it was nasty, it was sick, and it fit. It added to both characters because it made Sasha look really mean-spirited and made Bayley, it made you feel sorry for her even more. And there were points in this match where I was like, if Bayley doesn't win, I'm going to be really upset because I was that emotionally invested in the story. And that's what you're supposed to do in pro wrestling. Get me to feel things. Get me to care about things. Because so often we get wrapped up in how pretty the moves are and how many false finishes there were or anything like that. It's like, dude, that's not worth a hill of beans if I don't care who wins and I'm not like immersed in the story. And this match did it to perfection. I mean, I could not have been any more invested in this match than I already was. It was fucking beautiful. It was just a wonderful, wonderful match. And I can't put it over enough. And excuse me. Not that this match didn't have great moves like the reverse Frankensteiner, which set up the finish, and all sorts of other great things. But when you have a great antagonist like Sasha Banks and you have a great babyface like Bayley, who, with Sami Zayn on the shelf and Daniel Bryan on the shelf, Bayley might be the best babyface in wrestling because she's just got this Ricky Steamboat Sting-like likability to her. She's just so likable and it feels legitimate. And it's one of the reasons why John Cena never worked as a babyface for me, because I never bought into the whole I'm a good guy and I always do the right thing. It's like, no, you're a corporate shill, fuck off. Bayley, it feels legitimate. Sami Zayn, it feels legitimate. Daniel Bryan, it feels legitimate. Sting, Ricky Steamboat, those babyfaces, the nice guy image feels legitimate, and Bayley has that. And I think that's why I wanted her to win so bad, because she's just she is a believable underdog, and I just wanted her to have her moment in the sun. And again, it's just a beautifully told story with the right talents, and everything just clicked. And it's all the things that make the NXT women's division so great, is that they have those characters, they have those stories, and they have those payoffs. I mean, watching this match, it really reminded me of the first time I watched Rocky, or the first time I watched The Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid, the real one. Although the remake wasn't awful, I'll say that, I'll concede that. But I was like, yeah, it had that same feeling to it, where you just wanted the underdog to have to get that win. You really wanted the underdog to win, and it was an emotional roller coaster ride. It was you got the feeling that maybe she wasn't going to win it, and then she did, and it was awesome. It was wonderful, and it was just very emotional, very great, and just an outstanding match. And I can't praise both girls enough for what they did out there. That was an outstanding match. It was wonderful, and they did top-notch, A+ work job. Bayley's now the top of the NXT women's division. I think Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky are going to be more integrated into Raw now, which that has, it has its perks, but it also has its downside because the creative system is nowhere near as good. But, hey, what can you do? But, yeah, Bayley and Sasha Banks, without a doubt, best match of the month of August. Might even be my match of the year. I loved it that much. It was great. But with that, it goes, all right, what was my favorite wrestling brand for the month of August? There were some tough selections. You had Lucha Underground delivering their big season finale, which may have been the best show of the year, the best special event show of the year, at least of the ones I've seen. You had New Japan coming forth with the G1 Climax tournament, which was just a really fun tournament to watch, and I really enjoyed that. You had NXT delivering once again with one of their Takeover specials. So it seems like it's always down to Lucha Underground, NXT, or New Japan, and sure enough, it's down to Lucha Underground, NXT, or New Japan. Because their future is uncertain, and I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to praise them again, I'm going to give it to Lucha Underground. Ultima Lucha was the show they've been building to from day one throughout the entire course of Season 1. They delivered an outstanding show from the production to the matches to the storyline progression and payoff. I mean, they told... they put on a fantastic show, and I loved it. And I hope to God we get a Season 2 because we need Lucha Underground. We need more of that awesomeness. And it's funny because most people I've talked to that watched it, they love it. And it's different. It's exciting. It's well written. It's well produced. It's unlike any other wrestling show out there. I want more of it. And if we can get a Season 2, I'll be happy as a pig in shit or whatever that fucking... whatever that metaphor is. But, I would love to have more Lucha Underground. Here's hoping we get it. Season 2 would be great. But, if I'm going to pick a favorite wrestling brand for the month of August, I decided to go with Lucha Underground because I might not get a chance to give it to them again, and they deserve it. They absolutely do deserve it. Although New Japan and NXT also did very well this month, and, it was a great month for wrestling just because WWE didn't always click. And that's one of my points. It's like, wrestling fans, we get so upset over WWE, and I'm like, look, there are other options out there. You don't even have to watch the main. If you want your WWE fix, you've got NXT. I mean, that's another point. It's like, why even bother with Raw? Just fucking watch NXT. You'll be fine. And they've got some exciting stuff coming up. A tour of, the UK, and they're doing the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic tournament on NXT, which already had one really. I really like the Chad Gable, Jason Jordan versus Neville and Solomon Crow match from this past show, and I'm really liking Jason Jordan and Chad Gable as a team. I think they're this nice little odd couple, young fresh team, and Chad Gable I think is pretty funny. So I think there's a future there with that team, but we'll see. But yeah, a lot of good stuff to look forward to. I'm really excited for the stuff that the shows I like are going to deliver on moving forward. But alas, that is all I have for now. Again, hope you all enjoy your Labor Day. Hope you all have a good Labor Day weekend. It's pretty much the end of the summer at this point, which is, kind of a bummer all its own. But, I'll be back with more videos. I'll probably have another one up this weekend. And until then, you all have a good one.